some granola today. I love granola because you can change it up. Anytime you make it, you can mix some different things in there. It doesn't have to be the same every time. Just kind of follow the basic guideline of measurements and you should be able to do anything you like. So we're going to start with 4 cups of slow oats. And I have a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I have 2/3 of a cup of sliced almonds. If you don't want almonds, you could use pumpkin seeds, any kind of nuts that can go in there. So that's where you can play with it. Put whatever kind of nuts you want in there. I also have 2/3 of a cup of shredded coconut. If you prefer those big coconut flakes, you can use those. I would probably put those in later so they don't get quite as dark in the oven. When it's the really fine coconut, it's fine when that's baking. It'll brown with everything, but if you want to have chunks of coconut, the flakes or chunks, you might want to add that close to the end of the baking time. So we're going to put all this in here and a teaspoon of cinnamon. So this is your basic, the dry mixture part, and we're going to mix this up. And then we're going to do our liquid part on the stove. And for that we have a 1/2 cup of maple syrup. If you don't have maple syrup, I like to use a pure. You could also use honey, so that's where you can change it up again if you prefer to use honey. And you have some kind of a fat in here. So this one here has 1/3 of a cup of oil. If you don't want the oil, you could use peanut butter or an almond butter. I would just melt that first so it's liquidy before you put it in so that it's nice and, so you want it all liquidy. So peanut butter, almond butter, oil. I have 2 tablespoons of water. And I have a couple of teaspoons of almond extract, or you could use vanilla extract. And we're going to put this on the stove and we're going to bring this to a simmer before we mix it in with here. So I'm going to do this on the stove and I'll show you when we're about to mix it together. That's the next step we'll do. Alright, so we're just bringing the liquids to a simmer. So if you were using your peanut butter or an almond butter, you want to just make sure it's all liquidy here and melted. And we are going to now just go pour this into our dry mixture. So you want to preheat your oven, 275 degrees, so it's a very low temperature oven. And you want to use a parchment lined cookie sheet, or you could just spray your cookie sheet if you don't have parchment paper. So we're just going to mix this up together. And we're going to put it in the oven for 30 minutes, and after 30 minutes we're going to take it out and we're going to break it up, and then we're going to put it back in for another 15 minutes. So basically a low temperature for a long period of time because you want to have a nice crunch to your granola. I just want to make sure I'm getting to the bottom here so I don't have any dry granola down here on the bottom. And we're just going to pour this onto our cookie sheet. And we're going to get this in the oven. And I'll show you what it looks like at the 30-minute mark so you can see. But you just want to have this all spread out on the cookie sheet because you want it all to get nice and golden and to get nice and crunchy. This is the 30-minute mark, so I'm just going to stir it up a little bit so that the bottoms can also get crunchy when we take it out later. So I'm just stirring this up. It's starting to get nice and golden, and we're going to put it in for another 15 minutes so that it can all get nice and crunchy and golden brown. So stir it up 15 more minutes at your 275 temperature. So it's been in the oven for 45 minutes now, nice and golden. It's not completely crunchy yet, but just let it cool. It will get all nice and crunchy. And when it's finished cooling all the way, you can, at that time, if you like, you can add some more things to it. If you want, you can add some chocolate chips, or you can add dried cranberries, or any kind of dried fruit. And I probably would have, if you wanted those big coconut flakes or chunks, I would have put them in maybe for those last 15 minutes so they get a little bit golden. But this looks good. So let this cool completely and then store it in an airtight container and use it on your granola, on your yogurt. Tastes really good.